Hello and welcome back to LTC Heroes Live by Experience Care. My name is Peter Murphy Lewis. I'm your host. I'm excited because I'm at day one of Florida Healthcare Association. My first time here, my first time at this state association, and it's the first time I am interviewing Scott Berube. He's the nursing home administrator at De Luna Health and Rehabilitation Center. Scott, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Scott, I asked you this earlier today, and you've had a little bit of time to think on it. Why did Kristen nominate you to be my first interview? What's special about your long-term care passion or history or even your organization that you think that she made you my first victim?
Well, I think I just have an interesting story how I got to long-term care. I was in the Navy at one time, and I thought that was going to be my life goal and what I was going to do for life. And due to a force reduction in 1994, I ended up getting out, not on purpose. It was, they're like, we're letting you go. And after my discharge, I didn't know what to do with myself. Thought I wanted to be a cop, and I was going to be a sheriff's deputy in Pasco County. That's like something I wanted to do. But as a backup, I went ahead and applied to nursing school too, because I was a Navy corpsman, and I was that's combat medic, if you will. And the sheriff's deputy school fell through. They lost my psych eval. I guess that was God's way of telling me, no, you're going to be a nurse. So I worked as a CNA at first when I got out, then became a nurse, and just kind of worked my way up through the ranks. So I guess an interesting story in the sense that I have a lot of experience starting working as a CNA. I washed dishes when I was in nursing school at a nursing home. So I've kind of done it all. And so I don't know.
Do you have any stories, maybe the first week, the first month, the first year, when you first got into long-term care and you started to realize that it's not the same thing as acute care? Obviously wasn't the same thing as working in the military, not the same thing as being a sheriff. When did you start to realize you might be made for this career?
Well, that's very interesting. I think my first few months into long-term care, this is before staffing minimums were really taking serious, things like that. And I know someone had to help these people. We had a lot of places where I worked in the Pasco County area that, if you had to call in, all of a sudden you have 30 residents you got to take care of. So it was literally change, feed, change, time to go home. But nobody was caring for these people. So my heart really went out to them. And I think that's when, like I said, I think God kind of pushed me in a direction. This is where you're supposed to be.
Do you when you think back on those first years in long-term care, do you have any mentors, either mentors who taught you about care, mentors who taught you about how to process aging, dead and dying, how to manage your energy? Anyone that you look back and like, this person taught me about this?
Yes, well, I can go back to one person who kind of led me down a path I'm in right now, and I hope she don't mind me using her name, but Judy Greenwald. She was at Tallahassee Memorial Rehab Center, Extended Care at the time. She was the one that kind of taught me how to deal with problems, things that come up, customer service issue. In our business, customer service is number one, dealing with customers, because we're all customers, okay? Whether you deliver the mail, whether you're the doctor, anyone that comes in your center is a customer, okay? How do you deal with those problems? And she taught me not to stick my head in the dirt or emotional react to issues and things like that. So she's the one that first comes to mind. Gosh, that's 1998. So we're going back a minute. But she's the one that kind of, if you will, had me become an adult in this business.
And
so
how did the decision to become an administrator, how did that come about? Someone push you, family? Was it a career decision in terms of it's time for me to take on a leadership role? I don't know if my feet can handle it on the floor as much as they used to when I was a young CNA.
Well, I think that for me, it was I didn't want to just stay at one space in my career. I always wanted to go further, go further. I think it was a combination of discussions with my family and the people. I actually worked for Life Care at the time, and the person that ran the division, saw potential in me and said, you should really think about going down this career path. And so that's what kind of made me interested in going at. Plus, I just always wanted to drive myself to do more with my career.
Tell me a little bit about this community. The first time I met you, you were volunteering, you were scanning people into their sessions. Tell me about what you've learned from the Florida Healthcare Association. Who are the people that you're most excited to meet this week? And any sessions, things that you're like, I have this problem right now at my organization, at my facility. I want someone to explain this to me about regulation, or I need some new tips on staffing. What are you coming here for?
Well, it's a combination of a lot. Well, let me start with Florida healthcare because that was a lot of questions. So let me start with Florida healthcare. Um, I've been working with them for several years now, and I enjoy volunteering with them, helping out as much as I can because they are not just our advocates as far as people in our industry, but they are also advocates, most importantly, of the patient. Good quality customer care. I went back to the days when I first got into this in the early to mid 90s, where there are, where I worked, their focus really wasn't on the customer experience or taking care of the resident. Florida healthcare is all about making quality care better in Florida. Our goal is to be the number one in the country as far as quality care. That's why I enjoy working with them. They give so much to us. I just want to give back to them. So now, as far as the classes, boy, there are several classes. Um, I think every class I attended today, I can take back to my center and start using them. I took a lot of notes, and there's almost everything that they offer here, something you can take back and use. So and meeting people every day. I'm meeting new people. There's a lot of new people in the business, especially since COVID. A lot of people that I started out with, people that I looked up to and learned from, are now retired. So I'm seeing a lot of new faces. So it's every day is a new adventure.
I want to take this, Scott, I want to take this kind of to a personal level. You seem like a deep human being. You seem like your emotional intelligence is high. Tell me, what have you learned about yourself after working in long-term care for almost 3 decades?
Yeah, well, what I learned about myself is, you know, okay, there's another podcast I won't name, but I listen to. They have this little session called what do you live for? Is it the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat? And a lot of people like, oh, the thrill of victory, love to win, love to win, love to win. Well, if you win all the time, you don't learn anything. What I learned about myself is like those times where I did lose, because I hate losing, despise losing. I never lost and smiled about it, but I do learn from it. And I look at other people that are having troubles. Well, how can I use that in my own professional career, in my own personal life, to not make those mistakes? So that's what I kind of bring is those life experiences that, hey guys, you may want to look at this differently because I kind of been down this road, and let's talk about this and work things out. So
Do you have any struggles, any moments where you've lost, any moments where you've fallen down that it motivates you to continue to improve? And just to give it to buy you some time and share where I'm going with it. The other day I listened to a podcast, and the author who was being interviewed, she said, my chip on my shoulder that I'm from rural Kentucky, and all of my friends from the coast always think that that my family's dumb, that my neighbors are dumb, and I'm tired of people. And I came from a town of 2,000 people, and when she explained the chip that she had on her shoulder, I related to that. Is there anything about your struggles that you're like, this keeps me going?
well, I'm glad we got a minute because it's interesting you say that. Starting with my childhood, very blue collar. I'm originally from New England, though I lived in, like most Floridians, I grew up in Florida from New England. But blue collar family. I didn't have a lot of people in my immediate family that went to college or anything. And I had a relative literally tell me once, thinking about going to college, when I'm younger, oh, our family, we work for people that go to college. We don't really go to, and that always bugged me. I'm like, well, I want to go to college. I want to be that guy. I don't want to have to work for that guy. I want to be that guy. So starting at a young age, that kind of drove me. That drove me to go to the military because I couldn't afford college. I would have to pay for college on my own. That's the reason why I joined the military. Then went to nursing school, and it all worked out. So starting at a young life, that was doing that. And then later on in my career, I was working for a company, a great company I learned a lot from. But I had one of the head guys tell me, basically, no, I wanted to become an administrator. No, you're better at what you do. You don't want to do that. And to me, that was the same as a no. Well, nothing motivates me more. Maybe it was on purpose, but tell me no about something, something I think is right and I want to do, and I'm going to find a way to do it. So I always try to be successful. But with that being said, no matter how good you are and how great things happen, I always want to go back to it's always the people surrounding you, because I don't want to sound too braggadocious. Okay. But, I have a great team at DeLuna. Gosh, I have the best team. I'm a lucky guy. We had this deficiency free in January. That's not because,
Congrats.
I'm Superman. I just go in and can fix everything. It's only because of the people I have around me. So all those things in conjunction is what helps me be successful in what I do.
I'm going to ask you to keep bragging about yourself in a moment, but I want to talk about your staff. And I think in order to bring younger generations into long-term care, we need to be good at telling younger generations what we appreciate them. Sometimes we're about tough love and we hold
Sure.
back the compliments until it's too late and we've already lost them. If I asked you to just name one or two, and so your staff knows I'm not going to let you name 10 people, who are one or two great frontline caregivers that you think are the epitome of what's wonderful about this industry?
Gosh, I'd have to name several, but
I'll cut you off at 5.
well, let's start out with my unit managers. So I have Susie Brown and Lakeisha, my two unit managers. They are some of the most caring people who try to go out and motivate people. They do the best they can. In a younger generation, I have my admissions person, Michaela. She's this generation. And I see potential in her that she may not see it yet. No matter what she's going to do, she's going to be successful in. And so that's just a few people I can name off the top of my head. That,
Perfect. Tell me a little bit about Michaela, right?
Sure.
You said, tell me what it is about her that makes her special for our industry and why we need more people like her.
Well, I think as, me being my Generation X, the old school, there's no school like the old school and I'm the headmaster, right? That's how we think. But what this younger generation brings in, technology, things like that I may not necessarily think of. That's what she's going to bring to no matter what she does, whether it's in long-term care or another career path she chooses. I think that's something she is going to bring is those new ideas, the up-to-date new ideas that maybe I haven't learned yet. So
now I'm going to ask you to talk about yourself, and I'm going to phrase it like this. I want you to take off your humble hat.
Sure.
Tell me something that maybe your team might not know. Maybe you've only shared it with your spouse, something that you've done in the last year or two that you're really proud of. And it can be small. It could be that you picked up a CNA from her house because her car broke down, or it could be something big that you hired the best CNA that you've seen in 10 years, and the person has really changed the energy on your team. And it might not be you did it, but you found the person and you made the right decision.
Well, so there's a couple instances. And it's, I tell my wife everything. I don't have secrets from her. Okay, so she knows about this. But there was a CNA who had a fire, lost everything, had an emergency, lost everything. You give them a couple of bucks, you help out, and you try to get people together to kind of do a collection, things like that. Because I truly, really do care about my employees. I care about their problems and things like that. I mean, you can't be heartless in this business. You can't. You're not going to last. Your team's not going to stay together, and you're not going to last. So those are things we try to do. Not just me, but collectively as a team, we do that. Of course, I'm always proud about 2 deficiency frees in 3 years. That's exciting. Again, it takes a team to do that,
right?
But it takes someone to drive the bus.
That's hard.
So it always starts with the administrator, because when things go bad, most certainly you have to take credit when things go bad. So when things go good, I don't mind taking credit too. I am proud, but most certainly I'm proud of my team as well.
My last question as I start to wrap up is how your team views you. If I asked 2 or 3 of your closest peers to choose one adjective, how would they define you?
I want to say they would say I'm fair. Okay, I try to treat everyone equally. I don't really play favorites. I teach customer service at work. I personally take investment in that, and I teach all my staff every year customer service. And I always talk about your poker face. And there's not, truly, there's not anyone at work I don't like. However, I always say, even if I don't like you, you're never going to know it. Okay. You got to use that poker face. You
Yeah.
got to be fair and consistent with everyone.
I'm so bad at that.
And it's hard. You got to, it's especially in a Facebook age, you always want to be catty and come out with a thing, especially if people that know me, I have a very sharp tongue, sharp sense of humor. And it's hard not to do that. You got to bite that tongue and just be fair with people. So my hope is they would say that I am fair with them.
Hmm.
Situation will control you. I've said that 100 times. They could probably repeat that. When survey comes in, control this situation, it controls you. Family issues, get ahead of it, control this situation or it controls you. My hope was that, my hope it would be that, but who knows? Who knows what they would say?
I love it. Thank you so much for joining me on LTC Heroes. It's a pleasure. And hopefully next year I'll be back and see you again and have you back on the podcast.
That'd be awesome. Thank you so much.